Street fights aren't about looking fancy. They aren't about showing off spinning kicks, choreographed moves, or what you've seen in action movies. Street fights are about one thing only: survival. And here's the cold truth that most people don't want to hear. In the chaos of a real fight, you don't have time to think, you don't have space to look stylish, and you certainly don't have the luxury of following rules. It's raw, dirty, and terrifying. And the person who wins isn't always the strongest. It's the one trained in the right art, the one who knows exactly how to exploit weakness in a blink. Now, let me brainwash you with something most martial arts schools will never admit. Not every martial art is built for the streets. Some were created for sports, some for discipline, some for tradition. They might look amazing inside a ring or impressive when demonstrated in a clean dojo, but take them outside into a concrete jungle, into a dark alley, or against multiple drunk opponents, and suddenly their effectiveness crumbles. What really matters is an art that thrives in chaos, one that is efficient, brutal, and designed to end fights fast. Think about it. Street fights don't come with weight classes. You won't find referees. There are no soft mats to land on. If you fall, it's concrete. If you get distracted, there's glass bottles, metal bars, maybe even knives. And your opponent? He doesn't care about honor. He doesn't care about respecting your martial art background. He only cares about smashing your face in before you can breathe. That's why the most dangerous martial arts are the ones that don't play by rules, the ones that train your brain to be ruthless, decisive, and even a little cruel when necessary. And here's the scary part. You don't need years of training in these arts to become dangerous. Even a few techniques, when applied in the street, can make the difference between walking away or being carried away. That's what makes these arts deadly. They aren't about building flashy skill. They're about rewiring how you think about violence. They teach you to go for the jugular, to target weak spots, and to finish fights before they begin. They're the kinds of arts people don't talk about in polite conversation because they're too raw, too brutal, and too effective. You see, most people have this false sense of security. They think a couple months of boxing or a black belt in a traditional martial art makes them ready for anything. But when fists start flying outside a bar, when someone tries to grab you by the throat in a parking lot, or when you're cornered by more than one opponent, you'll quickly realize that not all martial arts are created equal. Some arts collapse under pressure. Others shine in it. And only the most dangerous ones prepare you for the unpredictable. So let me put it this way. If you ever find yourself in a life-or-death street fight, the difference between you being the predator or the prey comes down to whether or not you've studied the right arts. And today, I'm going to expose the 6 most dangerous martial arts for real street fights. Arts that weren't designed for trophies, weren't meant to look pretty, but were forged in blood, war, and survival. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly why these 6 are feared worldwide, and why relying on anything else could be the biggest mistake of your life. 1. Krav Maga, the art of ruthless survival. Krav Maga isn't a sport. It isn't about respect, tradition, or discipline. It was built for one purpose: to survive when someone's trying to kill you. And that's why it's number 1 on this list. Krav Maga was designed by the Israeli military, where soldiers didn't have time to waste learning fancy moves. They needed something fast, brutal, and effective in real-world scenarios. And when I say real-world, I mean exactly what you'd face in a street fight: ambushes, multiple attackers, knives, guns, and raw chaos. What makes Krav Maga terrifying is its philosophy: end the fight as quickly as possible. You're not trained to defend honor. You're trained to attack weak points ruthlessly. Eyes, throat, groin, knees, no area is off limits. In fact, Krav Maga drills these targets into your muscle memory so that the second you're grabbed, your body reacts automatically. It's like programming yourself to become a human weapon. And here's the manipulative truth. The reason most people fail in fights is because they hesitate. They think, what if I hit too hard? What if I hurt him badly? Krav Maga destroys that hesitation. It teaches you that in the street, hesitation is death. So instead of holding back, you go all in. Eye gouges, headbutts, choke escapes, even weapon disarms. Imagine your opponent rushing at you with a bottle, and instead of panicking, you're calm because you've been trained to crush his wrist, smash his face, and neutralize him in seconds. That's why Krav Maga is feared. It doesn't fight fair, it fights smart. 2. Muay Thai, the art of 8 limbs. Now, Muay Thai might not look dirty at first glance, but make no mistake, it is one of the most devastating arts you can bring into a street fight. Why? Because it turns your entire body into a weapon. Not just your fists, not just your feet, your elbows, your knees, your shins, everything becomes a blade. Think about elbows. In a street fight, you don't have gloves, and throwing big punches can break your own hand. But an elbow, that's a sharp piece of bone designed to cut and knock someone unconscious instantly. A Muay Thai elbow to the face in close range is like swinging a hammer at someone's skull. And then there are the knees. If you've ever seen a Muay Thai fighter in a clinch, you know the kind of destruction knees can cause. Ribs collapsing, noses shattering, windpipes crushing. But the real secret of Muay Thai isn't just striking, it's conditioning. Muay Thai fighters train their shins by kicking hard objects until their bones become like steel. Imagine a street fight where your opponent throws a sloppy leg kick at you and you counter with a Muay Thai roundhouse that feels like getting hit by a baseball bat. That's not a fair fight, it's an execution. Muay Thai is dangerous because it thrives in both close quarters and at a distance. You can destroy someone's legs, chop down their stamina, then finish them with elbows and knees. No wasted movements, no wasted energy, just pure violence. 3. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ. The silent killer. Most people think street fights are all about punches and kicks, but here's the brainwashing truth. Most fights end up on the ground, and if you don't know what to do once you're down there, you're finished. That's where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu comes in. BJJ is the art of choking someone unconscious or snapping their joints while barely using strength. It's designed to make even smaller, weaker people dangerous. Imagine you're fighting someone twice your size. He slams you to the ground, and you're panicking. But instead of flailing, you know exactly what to do. You trap his arm, you lock in your legs, and suddenly he's screaming as his elbow is about to break. Or better yet, you slip behind him, wrap your arms around his neck, and in seconds, he's unconscious. That's BJJ power. What makes BJJ terrifying in the streets is control. While most people panic on the ground, a BJJ practitioner stays calm, like a predator toying with prey. They know how to turn someone's aggression against them, how to trap them in positions where every movement only makes things worse. And once a choke is locked in, it doesn't matter how big, how strong, or how angry the opponent is. Blood stops flowing, the brain shuts down, and the fight ends. But here's the manipulative part. BJJ teaches patience in chaos. In a street fight, that's gold. While the average person burns energy in a frenzy, the BJJ fighter conserves, controls, and strikes when it matters most. That's why it's called the silent killer. Your opponent doesn't even realize they're done until it's too late. 4. Boxing, the art of controlled destruction. At first, boxing out of the ring and into the streets, and suddenly, it becomes terrifying. Here's why. Boxing isn't just about punches. It's about timing, precision, and footwork. Street fights are fast, chaotic, and sloppy. Most people swing wild haymakers that miss half the time. But a boxer doesn't miss. They slip, weave, and counter with surgical accuracy. One clean punch from a trained boxer can shatter a nose, knock out teeth, or drop a man instantly. And don't forget conditioning. Boxers train to take hits, to keep moving forward even after getting smashed. That kind of resilience is rare in street fights, where one solid hit usually breaks a person's spirit. Plus, boxers learn how to generate explosive knockout power from short distances, exactly the kind of range you'll face in a street fight. But here's the manipulative angle. Boxing doesn't just give you punches, it gives you confidence, that killer calm when fists start flying. While your opponent panics, you see every opening, every weakness, and you capitalize on it. Street fights don't last long, and with boxing, you don't need them to. 1 or 2 precise shots, and it's over. 5. Judo, the art of slamming bodies. If there's one martial art that truly thrives in chaotic, close-range fights, it's Judo. Because here's the reality. In most street fights, people will grab you. They'll clinch, they'll tackle, they'll try to drag you down. And when that happens, a judoka is the last person you want to grab. Judo is about using an opponent's weight and momentum against them. Someone rushes at you, perfect. You grab their arm, shift your hips, and suddenly they're flying through the air and smashing onto concrete. That's the beauty of judo throws. They don't just put people down, they end fights instantly. Concrete doesn't forgive. One slam on the back of the skull, and your opponent isn't getting back up. But judo isn't only about throws. It teaches balance, grips, and control. In a street fight, that means you don't just survive, you dominate. Your opponent feels strong until you redirect their force and humiliate them with effortless power. And once they hit the ground, you follow with joint locks or chokes to finish the job. The manipulative truth here is this. Judo looks graceful in the dojo, but on the street, it's pure brutality. Every throw is a potential knockout. Every grip is a trap. And that's what makes it dangerous. Your opponent thinks they've got you, but in reality, they've sealed their own fate. So there you have it. 6 of the most dangerous martial arts that can turn an ordinary street fight into a nightmare for your opponent. But here's the real question. Do you agree? Because let's be honest, everyone thinks their martial art is the deadliest. Some of you are probably already typing, but what about Wing Chun? Or you forgot karate? And that's exactly the fun part. Street fighting isn't about what looks good on paper. It's about what actually works when chaos erupts. Now I want to hear from you. If you had to trust just one martial art to save your life in a street fight, which one would you pick? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm curious to see which side gets the loudest support. And hey, if you think I ranked these wrong, prove me wrong down there. Let's see which art starts the biggest war in the comments section.